This video is brought to you by ISB HS Tech.
Hey everybody, today I'll be showing you guys how to get your IB CAS program set up on ManageBac. So first of all, go to the ManageBac website. Enter in your username and password and click on Sign In. Move your cursor to the ISB HS tab and click on CAS. The next thing you will be doing is filling in a form telling ManageBac what CAS activities you will be taking part in this year in your junior year. This form is supposed to be completed before you begin your activity this year. So to add your first activity, click on Add CAS Activity. Then fill in the name of your activity. For example, I'll be doing Street Boys Club. And then determine which components of CAS your activity fits into. Next to the components your activity incorporates, put the number 1 as a placeholder so that ManageBac knows the type of activity you are participating in. You can always come back to change your real number of hours later in the year once you have completed the activity. So my activity in Street Boys Club would involve service, so that's there. And since I'm an officer and I'll be planning many activities for the club and for things for many members to do, this activity also involves creativity for me. So there you go. Next, determine if this activity incorporates 2 or more of the CAS components and involves some form of teamwork. If it does, then it can be called a CAS project, and you may select this box. If your activity is not a CAS project, then you can simply ignore this box. If your activity is an ISB activity, then select the in-school box, even if it takes place out of campus. If your activity is not an ISB activity, for example, a summer internship, then select out of school. Next, fill in the approximate beginning and end date for your activity. So click on the calendar icon and make sure you select a specific date for both the beginning and end date for your activity. So there. If you will be participating in this activity for the whole of your junior year, then select May 29th, 2015 as the end date for your activity. And click. Next, fill in the name of your activity supervisor, which is usually your club sponsor or your team coach. So I'll fill in Mr. Soul's name. You can ignore your title box. If your supervisor has an email address, then type in his or her email address here. Make sure that you add the correct address. Otherwise, he or she will never receive an email from ManageBac and you will never get your activity approved. If your supervisor is an ISB teacher, then you can easily obtain his or her email address by going to the ISB Gmail and searching for his or her name. So let me show you how. So go to your ISB Gmail, type in your supervisor's name, click on his name, and there, his address will be there. So Mr. Soul's address would be peter@isb.ac.th, and I can type that in over here. However, if your supervisor does not have an email address, which is often the case for out-of-school activities, then you may provide a phone number. However, if you have already provided an email address, then you do not need to provide a phone number. After that, write a brief description for your activity. Note that this is not a reflection, since you are filling out this form before participating in your activity. Simply write down what you expect to do in this
Here are my
activity
description and
what
goals
you
for
hope
Street
to
Boys
achieve
Club.
through doing it.
As you can see, I have talked about what I do in Street Boys Club. So I meet every Thursdays after school and play with the kids for 1.5 hours. The activities I do with the kids include playing in the art room and playing soccer in the field and swimming. For the goals for this activity, I've set a number of things that I hope to achieve throughout the course of this year. For example, I hope to participate more fully in the activities, ensure that all members commit more actively in the club, and try to come up with additional activities for the street boys and organize funds effectively. If your activity is a very obvious activity, such as a sport, then you do not have to include the description. All you have to include are the goals. Then, after writing the description and the goals, select the learning outcomes you intend to meet in this activity. Please think carefully before selecting each outcome, because after you complete your activity, you will have to reflect on how you have fulfilled each outcome. So, since I'm an officer and a member in Street Boys Club, I believe that all of these targeted learning outcomes would fit into what I am doing. So, I've ticked all these learning outcomes and then I'm done. So, once you are done, click on the Add Activity.
Hopefully, you will be doing many activities this year. So, click on Add CAS Activity over here to the right of the screen again and fill out another form for your next activity. Also, this area gives a quick summary of your CAS activities this year. And that's it. Good luck, and thank you for watching.